Welcome to another episode of Marketing Jedi, a podcast series by InMobi Microsoft Advertising in association with ET Brand Equity. Today, for the podcast, we have with us Mr. Jahid Ahmed, Vice President and Head Digital Content and Social Media Marketing at HDFC Bank. Jahid has over 14 years of experience in the BFSI sector, and he has been instrumental in institutionalizing data driven digital campaigns, MarTech, and transformation setup across various BFSI organizations, such as Citibank, ICICI, and HDFC Bank now. Currently, he's heading digital content and social media marketing at HDFC Bank, where he looks after online acquisition, website innovation, analytics, social media listening, and content marketing. It's great to have you with us today, Jahid, and welcome again.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Rohit, for such a long introduction. It really kind of felt good about it. And thanks for having me at this beautiful platform. Really love the name, Marketing Jedi. Great that InMobi, Microsoft and ET Brand Equity partnered for this kind of a platform. I think this will be a great way to reach out to the digital enthusiasts and will give us a chance to become digital evangelists. So thanks and looking forward to the lovely conversation.
Sure. Great to have you again, Jahid, and welcome to this episode. So to dive right in, Jahid, I think since you have been in the BFSI space for over a decade now, right? And so we would love to know about your journey in the industry. How has the industry evolved overall? As I think you have been in the center of entire digital transformation wave, right? And I think you have witnessed the digital ecosystem develop in the last 10 years, I would say, right? Both how it was before and what it is now, right? So I think and a lot has changed in the last 10 years, and you have been in the center of all of it. So I think it'll be great to firstly learn about your journey itself, and then also what has happened on the digital transformation front, and how has the overall marketing front also evolved. I think if you could kind of share with our audience here, it'll be very I think very helpful for a lot of our audience. And since your journey itself is an aspiration to a lot of folks out there, right? So I think it'll be interesting to know about that.
Sure. I think I'll try to make it interesting. I don't know how interesting it was, but very nostalgia kind of a question, Rohit, and thanks for this. I think so. I had started my journey. Obviously, digital was in its very nascent stage at that point of time. I think I had started my journey way back in 2006. I obviously joined Sharp as a corporate sales, selling into office automation. But immediately I had moved to media sales. I somehow loved media always. Okay, and so I had a 4 years kind of stint with Radio Mirchi. Okay, where I had donning multiple hats across activations, sales, and kind of was also into a practicing MC, did some outdoor jogging out over there. That was full fun-filled career, I might say. Then what happened was thought of getting into a more serious stuff. Got into ICICI Securities as a AP regional marketing head. That's how my marketing stint started. Within a year, this was in 2010. I think within 6 months, I don't know what the CMO dreamt of. Did he look at some finer qualities? We were setting up the whole digital team at that point of time in ICC Securities. He gave me a call. I was placed in AP Hyderabad. I was placed in Hyderabad. Okay, so I was heading the entire AP region. He gave me a call and he told that, okay, why don't you come and join the whole new digital team that's getting set up. That was a landmark decision in my career stage where I came to Bombay, took this digital marketing job. We started forming the team. And that was the day that had started. It was around 2010. Today it's 2021. And I think what a journey that we have covered. And not only in my personal space, I had joined as a senior manager, digital marketing out over there. Today, I'm vice president for HDFC Bank. So it's been a phenomenal journey. Now, more than the personal satisfaction of achievement, I think the satisfaction is the learning curve. There is never a day where we can go and sleep and say, I have learned it all. I can bet you in digital, there will be somebody who can teach you more things, who can show you light and who can tell you that these are the things that you don't know. Why don't you try this out? And with that learning and with that mind to learn always, and that's what we we can kind of propagate the same culture within the team, within the bank, within the organization. Let's keep on learning and let's see how much can we. It should not ever be a moment of saturation, especially for the digital team. Okay. And with that DNA, yes, we are growing and continue to learning by the day.
Wow, Jahid. So I think that's pretty inspirational, by the way. And I think that's quite exciting. I didn't know that you had, MC'd and VJ'd before as well. So I think quite a journey, and definitely couldn't agree more to the point where you mentioned that, sometimes, leap of faith and is required to kind of, make some decisions. And then definitely, if you kind of look back at certain point in time, you definitely kind of, you think that that was the right call at the right time. So I think pretty motivational, by the way, Zahid. Uh, Also, if you could, I think just a follow up on this, if you could also share your insights in terms of, how has the overall BFSI industry evolved from a digital transformation and a digital marketing point of view, since you have kind of witnessed it all, with this industry. So if you could kind of also share a few insights on that.
Sure. In fact, see, the years between 2010 and 20 can be, aptly described as the decade that witnessed our personal and professional lives getting intertwined with digital technology to a degree we might never have imagined ever before. So from being, devices and platforms, we used to almost extensions of ourselves. Digital technologies are integral to how we function today. The world has become actually hyper connected. So, and we are increasingly being driven in an always on environment. So see, if you have to tell me, like, let's bucket the whole digital transformation that has happened in four broad buckets. See, the first phase of the digital transformation, the tech crowd became too enamored with the digital part of the digital transformation. So every tech products or applications, from cybersecurity to cloud computing to programmatic to hyper personalization, or the most obscure piece of software, is marketed as the key component of your successful digital transformation. But remind you, this is a digital shift that has happened, not a real transformation. So the transformation part is quickly forgotten. Okay. But this is one part of digital that has significantly changed and moved and way advanced that has happened. Okay. Now, then came so this was the digital part of disruption. Then came the real disruption evangelists, focused on portraying digital transformation solely as being the destruction of established industries at the mercy of these innovative newcomers. And they are destruction. They are actually doing a lot of transformation, which is business transformation from age-old theories, right? Third bucket is the quants, QUANTS, because they say the answer to everything is big data and statistical models. And they are promising to predict what customers will buy even before they have any intention to purchase. They design these self-adjusting marketing mixes through completely programmatic marketing functions and so on. So we have the digital part of the transformation. We have the real business transformation. And then we have the quants, which are bringing in intelligence transformation. And last but not the least, the artificial intelligence, slightly loosely defined here and there. And because they are bringing the automation that has actually enhanced the whole overall digital transformation part. These are the four buckets, if I have to really put them as the transformation. What are the fields I have seen the transformation happening over and over again? It has been a decade-long learning curve, right? If what I've seen is, when it had started early in the decade, behind the wheel of digital transformation, there were a whole array of technology projects that were in the main IT and system improvements. Okay, for many firms were improving their website presence, ERP, CRM systems. That's under the name of digital transformation, but that's kind of mattered a lot. They were actually getting the basic setup right? Later, firms moved to automating functions, right? Like HR core processes, automating, then the whole marketing campaign out of, workflows, the whole workflow started getting set up, right? All these kind of efforts were helping in streamlining and improving organization operations, right? None of them were truly transformational, but at least the plumbing work had started, be it in terms of setting up a website, the ERP system, the CRM systems, and then workflow management. They had started. The next cycle was very different. I think that's where it took a leap. Okay. Firms started to looking at end-to-end horizontal processes such as order to cash in operations. Okay. Straight through processes, how can I, let's say the entire trading terminal, the trading portal, where end to end, no, you don't require a broker to be there at all, right? So that was where the portals were made to get convenience at the fingertips of our customers, where I think the real transformation started. So at this point, digital applications came face to face with the business transformation challenge. Why? Because they cut across national organization silos, opened up accountability and governance issues, and exposed the need for changing traditional ways of marketing. The people challenge and the organizational complexity came to the force. Okay. But no, despite much talk about the disruption and new business models, if you see, Rohit, the key focus of this transformation were digitizing the current customer interactions and operations. The main digital transformation of a business model which is digital led was yet to come. So first, it was all web presence, basic setup. Then it had workflow management. Then it came as the entire platform as for the convenience of customers. But then if you still club them, fundamentally the process of how products or services were made and delivered to customers remained the same. It's about how we get them digitally to the customers. Only that had changed, right? But then came the most exciting stuff, where using digital technology to innovate, to create, and to change how business is done. And hence, they have created a new source of value to people. I think that's how we have seen the most exciting factor from where digital transformation was defined, or the basic definition of digital transformation meant एक website बना लिया, CRM setup कर लिया. From that era to a Facebook, basic campaign start कर लिया. Third, workflow management, marketing workflows, or easier workflow to have internal ERP based, employee tagging. To the scenario where the entire business models were, to the scenario where platforms were made to make customers conveniently access your products or services. And lastly, the whole transformation paradigm shift, where your core value and business is digital led. The entire model and the product is digital. So I think that's a way paradigm shift that we have happened, that we have seen. And luckily we and I am a part of it, who are making things happen. So and learning in the process continuously.
Sure. So I think beautifully put, Jahid. I think, couldn't agree more to the points that, all of it came in phases, right? So I think while the entire stack, I would say, right, in terms of while it took a lot of time, but each of these pieces were kind of, evolving in themselves. So from, I think, some systems developing to kind of, even, from a website development where companies used to kind of make some website and used to say that we are digital now, right? But from that to what is happening right now, where everything is actually happening in a digital way, people are actually engaging and acquiring customers online. So that's a complete stack movement, right? So I think, yeah, I love the way you put it beautifully in terms of, how that has evolved, and great to kind of, have you share that, Jahid. So moving on, Jahid, I think one of the core reasons, why you think AdTech is indispensable for the banking category now, given a lot has happened in the last 1 year, right? With the onset of pandemic first, there was also a lot of restructuring that has happened in this space overall, right? And I think with the things now being completely digital, I'm sure, there has a lot of evolution happened in the banking industry itself when it comes to the marketing point of view, right? And I'm sure there are a fair bit of challenges that, this industry has faced to kind of, undergo this transition all of a sudden due to pandemic. So if you could kind of share insights from, what has happened and how things have evolved in the past 1 year, that will be great.
Sure. I think this was 1 year that will be etched in our memories forever, right? For reasons. Uh, See, when COVID-19 struck, and as you know, it was a health and humanitarian crisis as well as an economic shock, right? In many ways, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. So yes, we needed to fear COVID-19, but demand for our products and services was still there. So we had to continue servicing, right? And if you see, banks have a very pivotal role to play. Primarily, if you see Maslow's hierarchy, banks have a very pivotal role, especially the bottom two slabs. Because the widest part of our consumers get covered over there, be it the physiological and safety needs, and hence it's imperative that we came out big and bold in communicating to our audiences, reassuring them, comforting them, as well as serving them. So these were the key things. We never allowed ourselves to get into a negative zone, because that will impact our customers and clients and employees alike. So we ensured that 95% of our branches are up and running, ensuring that we maintain all the COVID standards, and lockdown standards. We managed more than 2 lakh customer engagements on daily basis, 93% uptime of our 13,000 ATMs. And that was mission critical for us. And we ensured that we stand out and deliver. Okay. But then also we had to the part of communication. That was very important. Okay. So we said, okay, let's take a step back. Should we just do what everybody's doing of washing hands and showing all those things? Yes, there are great stories that have to be told. But okay, so there were 4-5 things that we wanted to we took a step back and we tried to take control of, cognizance of. Know my role and what is my purpose. That's very important first. Okay. Listen to my customers, listen to our customers. What are they talking about? And address them. Are they talking about moratorium more? So instead of talking about more CSR-led issues, can we talk about how to help EMIs in moratorium? Let's sort that part out. Okay. Be thoughtful and intentional. Nothing should be artificial. Okay. Avoid being opportunistic and adapt to a new normal, plan for future. So we ensured that we stick to these 5 basics. Okay. Now, let's cover this point of be thoughtful. I was going through a Kantar report, which I showed it to my CMO, Ravi Santanam. There was 60% of consumers are worried. Yeah, they were worried about their health is okay, but 60% of consumers actually were worried about their financial uncertainty. That's waiting beyond. They were more worried about that part. So our purpose is to make people make sense of money, to ease out the entire complexity of money and serve them as a platter. So if this is the purpose, so how can I actually talk to my customers and help them make sense of money at this kind of a pandemic situation where I can put them at ease, right? What are the developments that we can do? Those are the things that we were working upon. So we did an enhanced payment collection platform for merchants, which was enabling them to have end-to-end contactless and digitized application process. So there was no physical interaction at all, and the merchants were much at need over there. Okay, we kind of brought our end-to-end digitized instant account. People can open the savings account with us without even, it's completely Aadhaar and KYC led and video eKYC. We gave people instant cards. So quickly at the back end, we came up with all these MarTech and all these product-led innovations, which enabled us to then go and talk to our customers. Because I remember we told you, we have to be thoughtful and intentional. We cannot talk about something and you don't have a product to back it up, right? So first part of the pandemic, we kind of ensured that we have these products lined up quickly. Okay. While we were doing this, we came up with the Clarion. So we ensured that we did that, right? And then once it is done, how did we talk about it? Now, so first of all, the way we approached the whole campaign was, who are we targeting? The first W is who. Okay. So data has to be the heart of all campaigns, right? And it's imperative that we understand the digital consumption pattern of the customer segment and approach him accordingly. Now, what was the challenge post-pandemic? See, a lot of this input to the data has changed. Like now, salary is always a key parameter to the data. All of a sudden, people are not getting salaries. Does that reduce their profile? Might not be. Or maybe, we don't know. So, okay, spends had reduced drastically. So what should I understand of him now? Generally, people take a loan for indulgence, but now it might be debt trap. So people sitting at home without much of access, how do we understand this data? How do we make sense of this data? And then how do we do the propensity modeling was a significant challenge that we had to kind of understand and undergo, right? So that was the first challenge, to define data and define propensity segments in this new post-pandemic era, right? So, and because a lot of this, because data is at the heart, my communication, my campaign approach will be precisely based on the type of data, right? Should I talk to you about a medical emergency or a debt trap, or should I talk to you about a home renovation? Now that you're working from home, will you be interested in more of a gadget? Will you be interested in more of a upgrade of your furnitures? What should I talk to you about? So that propensity understanding was very important, which obviously we kind of had some concerns, like, let's say, how do we do it? Second W is when. So who I have understood, now is when. Now we need to understand when means the maturity level, or at what stage the customer is in the buying process. That is very important. Now, what were the challenges over here? Now, we were initially, let's say, very action oriented, right? So the whole process of identifying top and mid funnel strategy had to be in place previously. So pre-pandemic, let's say, it was more about business. It was more about bottom funnel campaigns, leading to more and more business. Post COVID, post pandemic and lockdown, I told you, we were thoughtful, we were intentional, and we need not just to we did not want to sound opportunist. So we had to handhold people. Now, if you are trying to handhold in a virtual way, we had to make a lot of content. We had to come out with videos, vernacular content, right? How do we do that? And then there has to be an omni-channel unified approach, right? So how do we do that in such a short span? Okay, that vernacular. What do we do in vernacular? Should we do a transliteration? Should we do a transcreation? Or should we do a basic translation? And we all know, wow, basic translation will never work, right? So those are all the challenges that we were facing. How do we get so many videos across which will actually educate him in many financial complex languages and products and make life easy for him? Okay. Third is where. Now that we got data sorted, we know how to handhold him, and we are trying to get all the instruments in place. Okay. The third point was where. So, this where helps us to understand the platform and the context of the communication. We have to be very relevant, right? So where is he, and how can I build a communication contextually relevant to that particular platform is very important for us. I'll give an example. When we did Hotstar, okay, we took inventory where if it's a white ball, the whole communication was contextualized to the white ball per se. Earn extra savings point like the runs in a white ball. Okay, and that gave us brilliant engagement. Okay, we went contextual with the scoring. Like, let's say, if you have to order something, when the wicket was falling, or let's say the match is starting, okay, enjoy this match at home. And so let's say the ad is coming in quick buzz, we will pick up with API integrations, we'll pick up the score, or we'll pick up the wicket, or we'll pick up the match that's about to start, and say that enjoy the offer while you watch cricket at home, right? So we have to be very relevant and contextual, otherwise ERs will always fall. So that's where. So who, when, where, right? And then that's how we evolve. And then obviously the fourth is what. So what is, the essence lies in personalization and unified approach. What is it that I'm communicating? Let's say if I have to communicate, just think of this whole pattern, Rohit. If I have to, what is a very interesting part, if I have to communicate to you about, let's say we did this whole campaign called Festive Treats. We were talking about 12 plus more products across owned and paid channels. That means we're talking about 40 adapts. So, and if the campaign has to go in an omni-channel unified manner across all platforms owned and paid, that means we're talking about 40 into 10, approx 400 creative renditions to be going live on the same day. So what are we communicating, and what is the go to live date? That was again a biggest challenge. Who will create so many adapts, right? So that also we surfaced with the latest ad tech platform, where it is called a go-to-market tool. One click, multiple adapts, and we get set, right? Finally is how. How is a lot of questions that we ask. Are we optimizing basis real-time conversions and not the lead basis or appointment fixed basis? The signals should directly pass to my search. Signals should directly pass to my Facebook campaigns, and we optimize on real-time conversions. Okay, what is how to monitor the funnel optimization, the funnel journey optimization? That if you're doing an entire top funnel, top to bottom, how are the customers moving in the right direction, right? Are we having the right set of video ad sequencing or creative sequencing? How are we ensuring frequency capping? Okay, how do we ensure media wastage? By ensuring suppression at the right time. Otherwise, I've seen so many places, I've already bought a product, but that same product is being marketed to me time and again. I'm done, I've bought it. Show me the next product if you want to. Okay. So remarketing and remarketing has a very significant role, right? So what is the next set of remarketing communication? I've seen again remarketing is happening, but the communication does not change, right? So how addresses me all helps me to address all these questions, and hence approach the entire campaign in a way where there is least media wastage, best of optimization, communication at every step, which is a sequenced communication, so that I am taking him from a top funnel to bottom funnel with the next layer, next set of communication that is ready for me. Finally, what is the real time monitoring that we are doing? Can we have an entire Google Data Studio which fetches data from Adobe Analytics, publishers, double click, and have one unified view of the real time monitoring what is happening? Okay. Now, this is all put together: who, where, when, what, and how gives me the entire approach of the campaign. We faced challenges in each of these segments post COVID, but we ensured that be it data, be it my campaign rollout with multiple set of creatives, be it my unified monitoring approach, or be it the multiple video, vernac, and content strategy that we had to make in a very short span of time. Okay, everything we huddled together, made pods, and ensured that we went live with one of the best campaigns that we did also was called Festive Treats.
So I think those were great insights, Jahid, and clearly, a lot has happened in the last 1 year, and definitely looks like the role of data-driven insights and analytics has been used very extensively in the last 1 year by the BFSI industry itself. And I think HDFC has clearly, changed the game, as well as kind of leverage ad tech for growth, and ride on this wave, right, to stay ahead of the competition. So clearly, a lot has happened on that front. How do you think that marketeers should strike a balance when it comes to challenging and kind of thinking about newer strategies to kind of crack and approach the user, as well as drive innovation, right? But then again, us balance in terms of how much to kind of do. So how do you think that should happen? Any thoughts on that?
So yeah, obviously, very interesting question, and lots of thoughts that come across as you ask this. Uh, See, let's take it this way. The concern is data is there everywhere. Okay, how are people using this data is very important. That's always obviously the starting point, right? Like, let's say if I have to evaluate data for us, right? Um, let's evaluate, are people doing it? And I love to do it in four distinct methodology of data. What are the type of my customers? Are they loyal, on the fence, disloyal, or like not interested in any kind of products, neither from me nor from competition? Okay, so what are the type of customers that we have, right? Then is, what is the intent of the customer? That's the second point, data point, that we should understand. Okay, so now that we have different types of customers, not that all the customers will have intent, right? So how can I define intent? High intenders, can we have rank ordering? Like, let's say we have so many products. How do I know that, Rohit, you are actually intending to buy which product of mine, right? Then is, and who are the top three decile, who are the bottom seven decile? So top three decile will have a different approach. Bottom seven decile might have a different nurturing approach. Okay. So who are the kind of customers? Do they have intent or not? Then on top of it, can I have a behavioral segments data? Okay. Which is cash needy. Are they debt trapped? Do they need money for medical emergency? Do they indulge somewhere? Or destination marriage, which used to be, I don't know how it will be happening now. Or maybe for home renovation, or it may be for home, it's like office work from home. Do I need a home upgrade? It can be for anything. So what are the behavioral segments? Okay. Last is hyper personalization, right? So hyper personalization will be like, which platform? Because I have to make it personalized for that platform. What is the life stage pattern? What are the passion points? What are the profession? Okay. What are the demographics? Because then if all these data now come in, we marry all of these and then serve in front of you what is called hyper personalized campaign. Okay. Now that is where we have to strike the right balance. where how much data, how much hyper personalization, at what point of view, is it impacting scale, is it not impacting scale, is it intruding too much into the personal space leading to creepiness, or is it not? Okay, though I know the subtle nuances are personalized, but there is nothing which is actually making it too obvious or intrusive. Okay, I think that's the kind of outlook that we should have in while we are trying to use data to personalize the campaign or to approach the campaign. Okay, now the whole approach, Rohit, the way we are setting it up is, we have been always doing bottom of the funnel campaign, right? Now when we see that, see, if we cannot continue doing only one or two platforms, because the paradigm shift is happening of people in movement from some of the other platforms to more of video led platforms. OTT has seen a significant spike, right? So what do we do now? If we have so much of data, how do we leverage this with OTT? That was the biggest challenge that we had. And we were globally first to crack this with one of our partner platforms, to have our data merge with them in the most clandestine manner possible and serve our campaigns, because our majority business comes from ETB. Okay. So festive treats was a classic example where we, IPL was happening after a long time and we wanted to cash on it big time. We had the festival of the whole campaign called festive treats. We wanted to go big as last time. So festive treats 2020 was, festive treats 19 was the best for us. Festive treats 20, we wanted to make it as big as possible, though we know that these are not the right times. Okay. So the whole, generally the way we approach, and again, coming back to your question, Rohit, is the fine balance between top, mid, and bottom funnel. We have to have a balance, and we have to ensure that what are the platforms that we are putting it as top platform. Like, let's say if OTT is a top or it's somewhere in middle. If it is a middle platform, what are the creatives that we should be serving them? How should we be measuring them? In Mobi yourself, you guys have come up with a beautiful product called Glance, right? If I have to reach out with my partners or my data or riding on your data, right, to the people in the most native way possible, that becomes a intuitive interaction with the brand. Because if I'm doing something mid funnel, it should not be forced like apply now. It should not be open now. It should be learn more. It should be engage. So the whole the modus operandi should be more of engagement led. At least educate them to what you are trying to go for. Okay. So that's how mid funnel is there more. So if you're doing top funnel across OTT, across more of these new age platforms, which is data led also, or more of these OTT platforms where it is visibility and impact at scale, that's where you define as top of the platform. Mid funnel, where you can increase consideration at scale. You can measure it via visits, you can measure it via BLS. Finally, bottom of the funnel, where you can actually, you have to measure either leads or you can measure full funnel closures basis your straight through processes. And that's how you have to approach. Now, in each of these funnels, you have to ensure that the platforms that you have chosen, the creatives that you have chosen, and the measurement success metrics that you have chosen are aligned with the particular funnel that you have to do. So that's how you have to kind of approach data, approach your campaigns, and ensure that the expectation from each of these are aligned along with the senior stakeholders.
That was a great insight, Jahid. I think the overall relation in terms of a user and then a funnel, right? So I think depending on the user and the stage where it is at, there is definitely a huge angle where a platform and a content plus creative messaging plays, and then you tie it all up with data, right? So I think then it kind of becomes a very 360-degree view of where you're running campaigns and which are the platforms you're using. And I'm sure each and every platform brings in a lot of value in terms of whether it's lower funnel, so that is where search comes in. Then display video, that is where a lot of newer platforms, which is OTT and platforms like Glance, Roposo, etc. come in. So I think, I love the way in terms of how you put it and articulated it, in terms of how how you have thought about it and how the audience should think about it as well. So great one, Jai. So that brings me to the end of this, to the last phase of this podcast, Jahid. And I would love to know from you in terms of what do you think, where do you think is the ad tech space heading, and if you were to kind of call out and for our audience out here, mention some of the trends that they should watch out for in this space. and how do you think they'll also affect BFSI segment in the next 5 years?
Mhm. Yeah. See, I think I'll talk about the favorite four of mine, which I think will have significant impact in the the way of communicating the entire ad tech space. Uh, One is first party data collection. Okay. If we have not started, I think it's high time that we start. First party data collection will be very important any which was post the cookieless world that we are going to. Apple has already started with their IDFAs blocking, right? So have we started, and have we started thinking of consent? Have we started with first party data collection? That is one. Second is, depending on your organization's maturity curve, have you got a DMP? If you have already got a DMP, have you moved to a CDP? Okay, that's the second. Third is ad transparency. I'm sure a lot of marketeers are there who are not even cognizant of the amount of media wastage that is happening because of lack of ad transparency. Now, be it across viewability, bidding, frauds. Okay, I think that is something that we should really work for. Ad transparency. Fourth is emphatic use of behavioral economics across customer journeys. And when I talk about behavioral economics, it should not be restricted only to creative. It is across your journey points. How you define the audience, what you talk to them in during the form filler process. How are you communicating them if it's an offline? Are the telecallers also aligned with the behavioral economics process? Everything is a nudge, and how the nudge is coming across is very important. Okay. Some of the other ad tech led stuff should be like, how are we moving beyond the two behemoths called Google and Facebook? They used to be, but if you ask me, there are a lot of DSP partners, a lot of brilliantly integrated DMP led DSP platforms that has come up. Time that we should take cognizance of all those platforms, do a proper media evaluation, and don't override on otherwise the media spends that we have been doing. Okay. Then there's chatbots. Time that your phone banking will get reduced. People want to talk, communicate, interact. So how are you making use of your chatbots? Are you developing it? If not, time we should develop. WhatsApp for business is there. So your chatbot should be one platform. Disseminating platform can be WhatsApp, it can be Facebook Messenger, it can be your own chatbots on the website. That can be multiple dissemination to your own messenger. Video is no longer an option. Video has to be an integrated part of your content marketing, and content has to be a part of your overall marketing, because top and mid funnel and remarketing gets driven by content. And obviously UX and UI, that's how SEO is. The whole BERT update gives so much on focus of it. So content becomes mainstream, right? And I think Rohit, I think those are the trends that we should look out for.
Sure. Thank you, Jahid, for sharing those. I think it's super helpful, and definitely things to kind of watch out for as this space kind of becomes more and more, there is a lot of growth possible with, the penetration in India specifically being so less, and then now users coming online. So I think there is a lot of scope possible, and those trends are super helpful. So I think, well, it was I think that is kind of the end of this discussion, and it was great to have you with us, Jahid, for this podcast. So thank you once again for joining us and finding time to share insights with our audience out here. Thank you.
Thanks, Rohit, and I hope I could add value to this whole session, and I hope people will find value in this discussion of ours. Thank you so much for having me once again.